Welcome in. We're 5 minutes late. TigerBait live. Obviously, a lot to discuss. New coaching hires, transfer portal rumors, transfer portal definites. Coach Kelly out on the road. Frank Wilson out on the road. Of course, Corey Raymond is the big news of the night, taking the job on Billy Napier's staff at Florida. A lot of hand wringing out there. I've seen some of the comments on social media. LSU fans, we probably need to send some people out to the Mississippi Bridge, make sure nobody's out there thinking about jumping. But we can discuss that and anything else. We're going to let you guys drive the show tonight, but I think we got a lot to discuss. Obviously, Brad Davis is retained. Frank Wilson, Max Johnson, Corey Raymond, and what else we got? A nutritionist hired. So we've got it all for you tonight. Please like, share, subscribe. And hit the like button. And thanks to Pride Roofing for sponsoring the show each and every week. So what do you think, buddy?
Can't say enough about Mike and Alex over at Pride. They've got two trophy wives. And, of course, Miss Tammy and everybody over at Pride Roofing certainly appreciates all of the great customers and relationships that we have established. Most notably for you, I've helped them a tad, but you've really been good to them, and they've been good to you.
And vice versa.
And that's a word we use a lot because they really do take pride in the way they treat you and the work that they do. Happy Wednesday evening, everybody. I'm sure you're like me and Mike. We were just lamenting on the fact that, after Thanksgiving, we're all a little heavy. It's hard to take away. You thank the good Lord for being here and being with your family and eating, but we're all a little bit bloated, and it's almost like you got to be a shrink as an LSU fan. And for those women out there who have crazy men fans that are LSU fans, and those women who are the predominantly LSU fan in the relationship, it's been Moody City. I mean, my BFF says you've been a Moody Beach.
Oh, no, I'm bad. I've been bad.
Speaking of beaches, Kirby Smart is still Nick Saban's beach.
Yep, yeah, there you go.
But that being said, Mike, this has been a lot to handle because of this. First of all, we had 6 weeks of drama and doubt and craziness to get to Brian Kelly. And as we know, when coaches take over, whether it's Nick Saban, Les Miles, or whoever, there is a serious transition, and generally there is a change of culture. Because generally speaking, a new coach comes in here because the last one either moved on or didn't make it.
Well, and look, you bring that up, buddy. And the culture is the word that I wish would get retired. And I laugh because Brian Kelly kind of took.
But it's true.
He didn't like the culture word either.
It was toxic, Mike. It was toxic.
And see, and that's the focus of the show tonight. There's former players. I've seen on Facebook. I know there's a lot of former LSU football players are upset about Tommy Moffitt.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Corey Raymond, all of them.
But here's the thing. The LSU program right now, and I told Preston to say it before he went live last night, we still have not hit bottom. There's more pain coming. There's more pain coming with attrition, opt-outs, transfers, and some of it might not bother you. Then there might be one or two that are going to be painful.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe, and I said this on your show, I honestly believe that they've said it out loud where they're saying, is there any way we could get out of that Texas Bowl? Is there any way we could buy our way out? Could they get somebody else? The whole Nussmeier thing, burning a red shirt, we've had that debate, and we can talk about that some more tonight. But the bottom line is the LSU football program is a wreck. That's why you went out and spent $100 million on a new coach. And the last thing you do, particularly when you've had multiple coaches in a row that have primarily maintained the status quo with a lot of personnel in the building kept and coaches retained. So you can't get mad when all of a sudden he starts making moves on coaches that have been there for a long time. So you bring in Frank Wilson, and even though Frank Wilson's been gone a good, decent while, I mean, he's a stalwart of LSU football. He's been around here forever, okay? You can't, Corey Raymond, and you get mad about Tommy Moffitt. Like, well, why are you changing the staff then? You got to make changes. You need new. You need fresh. Some of the stuff with the Title IX stuff that's taken place in the lawsuits, that is exactly attributable You're in those legal situations because you never made moves and never cleaned house. I'm not going to name the names, but one of them was thrown out last week.
Right.
Okay? That person should have been gone 15 years ago. But when you keep retaining people from DiNardo to Saban to Miles, Orgeron, that's how things get bad.
But what I was talking about is this yo-yo of up and down that the LSU fan base is going through. You've gone through it. I've gone through it. I'll call Mike, and he's lit up, man. I'm going like, boy, I'm glad you enjoyed that Manda's spicy sausage because you're lit up. The next day, I'm lit up, and it's been up and down, and it's hard because let's get to the main thing, dude. Those fans out there don't ever want to see LSU go back like Tennessee, like the U, who was going to buy their way back into the thing, like Nebraska, like USC, who's going to buy their way back in, like Florida State, who's getting ready to get Max and Jake Johnson. It's all cyclical. We're driving on the interstate, and college football right now is driving 110 miles an hour, texting and drinking beer, and playing with his girlfriend and hugging her at the same time. That's how wild and wacky it is. But my point is that this has been a transition, and the culture, I know you get tired of it, but it's true. Were those guys on the offensive line and defensive line, you saw bellies? Mm-hmm. You saw hot dogs? You saw opt-outs? You saw injuries? You saw 11-11 in 2 years? That's the culture that needs to go.
Yep.
And that's why Brian Kelly's the head coach at LSU.
Yeah, and that's not saying that Moffitt's to blame or Corey Raymond's to blame.
Of course not.
Brian and Andy Pitton, $5. Very much thank you for the super chat.
They are very generous, by the way.
Definitely. It says, just let Kelly do his thing. And I'm going to talk about that real quick. He's making the rounds. And I've talked to coaches at the schools he's been to today. And blown away. People blown away. But here's what I'm getting. He's going after the current commitments, Quincy Wiggins, a few others. But then he's going big transfer portal.
Sure.
Obviously offered Jordan Allen, the cornerback from LCA in Lafayette today, who's going to be in for an official visit this weekend. But he's going to use all those numbers. We'll see if he can get Harold Perkins, but that looks A&M. But he wants a big number because he's going to have to use a transfer portal.
Sure.
He's going to need a big number.
And this is the best year ever for that, seeing that you got the additional 7.
Yeah. So, there was a lot of what was the number that Mel Tucker did at Michigan State? There was a lot of, how did they get good so fast? Because he went heavy transfer portal. And because of LSU was already down, there's been attrition, opt-outs. It's going to take 2 years to get back to 85, maybe 3.
Well, listen, the guy texted me this afternoon, and it's a hell of a point. You got 2 5-star corners. And Derek Stingley and Eli Ricks, and everybody said for 2 years LSU's going to have the best cornerback tandem in the country. You want to look up their stats and how many games they played and how many INTs and all that? It don't matter if it's a 5-star, if he doesn't play but 1 year, if he opts out, if he gets injured. I think he's going to bring back toughness. I think you'll get a couple of O-linemen from Notre Dame. There's one of them that played with Garrett Dellinger. I mean, that's what he's got to do. He's got to bring in O-linemen and corners for sure. And, by the way, because Max left now, you got to bring in another quarterback.
By the way, there's something else I want to get off my chest.
Okay.
All right. This Corey Raymond stuff is out of hand. I've been talking about it for years and trying to do it in a way not to blast him, because Corey Raymond's a great guy. He's a former LSU Tiger. He's worked his tail off at LSU. But, guys, Jamal Adams that was a huge get going out of state, arguably the best safety in the history of LSU football. But go down the line and look at the defensive backs that have been at LSU and tell me which of those kids weren't coming to LSU anyways. Okay? What did Dave Aranda do when he had a bargaining chip when Jimbo Fisher came calling?
Got more money.
He got more money, and he demanded a safeties coach.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he demand a safeties coach? because he didn't like the way the safeties were being coached by Corey Raymond. So you get Bill Bush, and what does Bill Bush get you? Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
There's a mythology out there, and look, Frank Wilson coming back's great, but look, I can give you. I'm not going to do it, but I can give you a list of names that he lost. These guys. I mean, I've been listening to some of the media in Baton Rouge talk about both of these guys for 3 days, and you think they're Moses.
Well, listen, I do think that there is,
and I think Frank Wilson's a great hire.
But I do think, Mike, let's
but some of it's overblown.
I do think it is something to say that Corey Raymond and Tommy Moffitt were both very successful for a long period of time, and those guys were involved with national championships and SEC championships. But when you have a coaching change, it's you gotta let the guy do his thing. And we talked about this guy. He's 10 years younger than Nick Saban, who, by the way, was 49 when he came to LSU and didn't have any rings on his fingers. And Brian Kelly doesn't have any rings on his fingers as far as national championships, and he wants a ring, and he felt like he got a better chance of getting one at LSU, but it's going to take time. You talked about the bad before the good. I really think it's going to be a rough 4 or 5 months, and by the time you get into summer, then you start to get an idea of who's in the summer workout.
I can tell you the coaches today that were at Catholic High or Madison Prep or STM and everybody I've talked to were blown away.
Yeah.
And he is not panicking. Fans are panicking on Twitter. They're panicking on our message board. They're panicking in the chat right now. He's not.
You know who
he's sitting back and like, I got a plan. And Jamie Howard ain't gonna mind me telling you. Jamie Howard's just this afternoon. He was just, man. I felt so. He was just like, it was unbelievable. Like the guy, like when he starts talking about his vision and what he's got planned. So all this stuff. And look, there's going to be, like, I can sit here and say how glowing it was today and how great everything was, and then they can load up this weekend and all that comes out, and then next week every kid that's on the commitment list ends up signing, you know. But if 2 or 3 of them don't, it's not the end of the world. I mean, so I think people are just going to have to just prepare yourselves because there is going to be some more, there's going to be some pain. There's going to be something that's going to make you sick. There's going to be some all SEC type that might hit the transfer portal. You know, I'm hearing part of the reason why Max Johnson opted out is because there might be a couple of offensive linemen that might not want to participate in the bowl game. Defensive backs. How many walk-ons are going to be on the field in the bowl game?
Aaron Rodgers said this after they got beat by the Saints. RELAX. Relax. Take a deep breath. First of all, we all know how important it is to all of us. This is like a religion. This is what we do. We don't go to the opera and go to see Broadway and all that. We go to football games. We care about this. This is the pride and joy of the LSU fan base. This is what you espouse to people all over the country. Man, you ought to see the way we cook, the way we tailgate, Mardi Gras, LSU football, Saints every now and then. And it's damn important. And what I was trying to say in the opening is for those people that have relationships, I have been a moody beach just because every time you turn around, you want to be on top of the information, but stuff happens and you go, wow, does that make sense? Mike, I'm going to tell a little story about it. Mike, one day I called him. He says, God dog it, he ain't doing this. I want to see this. I said, look, it'll happen.
Oh, yeah.
It'll happen. Now, 2 days later, you see some things, and then I'm bitching about something, and you say, hey, man, relax.
Well, you know why? And I'm going to tell them what it was. I thought I had a vision in my head last week that, and God, we're going to do this for a little while. I had a vision last week where it was 1994, and DiNardo getting the job, and immediately someone driving him to Karen Crow and meeting Kevin Falk. That's what I had in my head.
Yeah, okay.
So then for 2 days, it's Feinbaum, Reese Davis.
I don't listen to any of those.
You know, well, he did the sit down for, he did a sit down on Wednesday or Thursday for Game Day that aired on Game Day. He did Feinbaum. He did a bunch of others.
Those two love Alabama. Reese has got a knee pad for Nick, and Feinbaum's got Saban on the knee.
Yeah, so you got Dan Patrick. So he's doing all that. So waving. Then I said, okay, well, maybe in between the press conference at noon. Well, then he did another round of interviews with the local media, TV. Like, why is he doing that? They just had one at noon. He could have went and seen Emory Jones. So I'm thinking that. And he's going away to Will Wade's game Wednesday night. And then I'm like, okay, well, Mulkey says, well, you can come to my game. Well, she wants him to come to her game too. So then Thursday afternoon we get word he's going back to the PMAC to wave to the crowd again. I'm like, then I'm getting like, are you kidding me? Why isn't he in the recruits home tonight? And then I'm figuring out, why isn't he going anywhere? You know, I'm hearing about background checks and the state takes 3 days, and then I'm told that's not true. Then we hear he's going to South Bend. Why is he going home? You need to change underwear, go to the store and get a pack. You know, what is it? So yeah, but then after a while you start to realize, okay, first of all, there's not enough days between now and the dead period to have in-home visits with every recruit. So he's not going to do any. You just start to figure out what's happening because you can't go visit one and not go to the others.
Yeah.
And then it becomes obvious when you start talking to the recruits that have offers that aren't committed and they haven't heard from an LSU coach since last Monday that they're probably off the board. And he's going big transfer portal. It just, you start.
No, I wasn't calling you out.
But no, I know you're
I
not.
was just saying this has been very up and down for everybody. So if you have a relationship out there and your partner has been a little emotional and a little hard to deal with, we can relate. That's all I'm saying. I wasn't calling you out on any of that. My point is
I like you brought it up. Let me tell the story.
I had a guy text me at 6:30 in the morning, and I get up and go to church anyway. But who's going to be the starting quarterback on the bowl game? And I'm going, really? You got to ask me that at 6:30? That's the other thing. You know, one thing we always said, Mike, you're in trouble when there's apathy. There's not apathy. People they want to get their claws back into the LSU football program because the last 2 years has been a shadow of what they got spoiled on in 19. And that, to me, is why people are excited. But there's going to be some pain. There's going to be some divorce. There's going to be some decisions made that you don't understand right now. But in the long run, you got to trust the guy who's getting paid $100 million. And by the way, if you're an assistant coach now and you don't make $1 million, then you coaching at the wrong school. How about Frank getting $1 million his third year?
I'm regretting not going into coaching.
Let's interact.
I need a DeLorean that goes 88 miles an hour so I can go back in time and go back into coaching.
Okay.
Dale Broussard, thank you very much for the super chat. Very much appreciative. All right, guys, we got a lot to cover here. Let's get to your comments. Let's scroll through them. And that's another thing, too. We had this discussion on our Tiger Den message board. Go to TigerBait and subscribe when the show's over with. We want to have you choose the annual package. Our message board is blowing up. We're even getting some fights today. I had to clean up.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. But he's not going to be like Ed Orgeron. And Ed Orgeron was kind of a rarity. Saban does a lot of FaceTime. When you talk to recruits over the last handful of years, and you say, and I'm used to saying it because I've been doing it for so long. Well, how often do you hear from Corey Raymond, or how often do you hear from this assistant coach? Well, actually, I talked to Ed Orgeron the most. Yeah, you're not going to get that with Brian Kelly.
Right.
He's going to be, once he gets his staff in place, he's going to be the closer. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the guy that you see when you come on your visit. But the assistants are going to be back the way a lot of, and I hate the word figurehead, but he lets his coaches coach. He lets them recruit. But I would like to know how much he's involved in watching film on players and who gets offered and how that system gets installed.
Real quick, if you missed it, folks, a lot of things have transpired as of late. Brad Davis, who is the interim head coach at LSU, we finally got a chance to interview him. I thought he was very impressive, 16, 17 minutes worth of tape. Baton Rouge guy. Really, really a good guy. I was hoping that they would retain him, and so was Will Campbell. Good news, that was announced this afternoon. Of course, Kerry Cooks, who is a former co-defensive coordinator and DB's coach at Oklahoma, and of course Notre Dame, and was an analyst at Notre Dame as well. He was hired. Corey Raymond is on the verge of going with Billy Napier. Of course, a lot of emotion with Tommy Moffitt. And Bill Polian's son coming in as the special teams coach. Of course, we know Frank Wilson was the big news. And I still think that it's good to see the former players all having an opinion. But let's just remind those former players one thing. This is a new game. When we talk about all these former players, they didn't have free agency. They didn't have NIL. How much you think Booger Nation could have made in NIL? And he probably resents the fact that he didn't have that. Remember the Booger Nation?
Yeah.
With Fournette? So what I'm saying is this is a new landscape in college football, and NIL is going to be a big player. And the three big questions that everybody had on Coach Kelly is, could he get into the deep end of the swimming pool and jump right into recruiting? And he did it on his own time frame. Can he be aggressively enough on offense in the SEC? Think Nick Saban when he got to Baton Rouge and think Nick Saban now on offense, right? A lot of difference. And then the third one that I never mentioned, because I'm 60 or plus, but does he have the fire in his belly? And I think all those questions are going to be answered, and hopefully, Mike, in due time, they're going to be answered in a positive manner.
Chuck Garrard, hey, Mike, I appreciate your honesty in reporting information. You are the best. Thank you for the kind words. And let me go ahead and say this as well. Defensive backs are aplenty in Louisiana. They always will be. This state produces them, and they produce great ones. And then there's good ones behind the great ones that LSU don't sign that end up having great careers at other schools. But I can tell you this, what's not going to happen is the Louisiana defensive backs that LSU pursues and highly covet and extend offers to, they're not going to be going to Florida. That ain't happening. They're going to be going to LSU.
Yeah. Well, look, you
want to give the over and under on that? I'll give you an over and under.
What's that?
You think Corey Raymond's going to come to Louisiana the next 2 years and get what he wants because he's Corey Raymond?
No.
He was Corey Raymond wearing an LSU polo.
By the way, just got a shout out from my professor Greg, who used to be at LSU, and he's a teacher in China. And I don't even know what the time differential is, but this show is grasping people all over. And it's because, Mike, and I asked Alan Risher about this, why can you win a championship at LSU and maybe even easier, even though they play in the SEC West and Notre Dame? And it's a pretty complicated answer. But one of those things in that answer is, and Mike, this is going to come in due time, if you get everybody behind you, can you imagine what Tiger Stadium is going to be back? And also the other irony of the day, Mike.
Yep.
If I'm correct, and Max and Jake sign with Florida State next Wednesday, how about facing Max Johnson in the Superdome on Sunday night of Labor Day weekend, playing against the former LSU defense? That'd be fun.
There's my BFF Jane Hanson-Dunn calling me Mikey. Welcome to the show, Jane. All right, guys, let's scroll in. Transition in progress, says Mark Chambers. Leonard Sarasota, what do you think of the tweet from Brett McMurphy about the $13 million deal that was offered to Jimbo? I think Jimbo saved Woodward's bacon. What I was saying throughout the whole process, if there was anybody in town that wanted Jimbo, there was only one guy, and it might have been Woodward. Do you know anybody that wanted Jimbo?
I don't like kiss and tell. I never have. And look,
and by the
all
way,
that's done. Jimbo's with A&M. He's having a hell of a recruiting class. By the way, I hit my head.
He'll never win an SEC title. I'm telling you that right. I'm making a lot of predictions tonight. He will never win an SEC title.
But look, I was driving over here. I was running late, and I hit a pothole, and I hit my head. Am I crazy? Did Jimbo and LSU, they were close in 15. I know you wanted him, and we all did, right?
I wanted him. I was a drum major for that one.
But it's 6 years later, and his offense is still more multiple, but it's not up to snuff with the spread and the fancy stuff everybody's doing now. But I hit my head. Did they lose 4 games this year? I can't remember.
Yep.
Hell yeah, they did. So when they go 11-1 and they beat Alabama again, then we're going to talk.
American Patriot. I hope Mike bought a bunch of Kleenex for all you crying guys. They're going to get over it. I'm just telling you.
Really, people are crying?
No, they're not. But it's. Look, I think a lot of this is media driven, and look, you've got media outlets that do puff pieces on analysts in the building. They get built up to being something gargantuan, and I mean, look, I can sit here and tell you that I think Frank Wilson will be good for Brian Kelly. But I bet you if Frank Wilson was right there and we started talking about what happened in that recruiting deal when you lost that kid,
Yeah.
he would admit him.
Yeah.
But there's a whole mythology that's connected to some guys, and then it just snowballs. And I mean, the way some of the guys were carrying on yesterday, you would have thought when he got stuck in traffic trying to get from Grostedt that he parted the Mississippi River and walked across it.
Yeah. Well, look, did anybody know accurately how this coaching search went? Did anybody know accurately the day to day? Okay. So you're going to get bits and pieces. And, Mike, you talk to some people, and you're talking to high school players, and you're talking to coaches and administrators and people out of meeting him. And one of the things that we heard before is that he may not dive into recruiting head first like Coach O, like Saban, like Kirby, like Billy Napier, and others. But, Mike, he's got a presence about him. And when you throw out that resume of, hey, this guy's won more football games than anybody active coaching right now, and then you demand respect, this is all about Aretha Franklin and respect. And that's what he's going to bring back to LSU. And they're going to do it the right way, and there's going to be a line in that sand. And if you want to walk over it, your ass is going to be gone, whether you're a coach, an employee, or a player. And that is the new way that has to happen. And there will be some blood on people's hands. But in the long run, come September, there's not one person out there watching right now that's not going to belly up and say they're going to win 9 or 10.
I want him to do it his way.
I
don't want him buckling. I don't want him, trying to adapt. I want him to do it his way, because his way works everywhere he's ever been. He's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. You ever think in your lifetime? I didn't know that I'd ever see a national title in my lifetime. So you won 3. I've seen 3 in my lifetime, played for a 4th, and I just watched LSU hire the winningest coach in Notre Dame history, more than Newt Rockne and everybody else.
Well, this is the last thing I want to add on that. And he had the kahunas to come and accept this challenge. While Lincoln Riley flew over to the West Coast, and of course Oklahoma's coming to the league. So you know what? It's a good move for Lincoln Riley.
Initially, I was giving Lincoln Riley because he was running from the SEC, but when I saw that financial package, I'm kind of like, well, maybe I might want to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt.
But my point is that Brian Kelly has an easier schedule at Notre Dame every year. They get hurt because they're not in the conference championship game, which is why I didn't think they could get in the Final Four. But to come in here and jump in here in the deep end of the swimming pool, and you got Saban, and you got all those other SEC West coaches, that takes balls. And that right now, you got a ball buster of a coach, and you better embrace him.
All right, well, I'm gonna run a little something right here from our great sponsor, Pride Roof, and we'll be back on the other side.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing. From Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
And thank to Mike and Alex for sponsoring us each and every week. And I'm just waiting for Mike to tell us the big news that he's going to have to report here probably by the end of the month. And real proud of our association with Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Give them a call at 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for a year. I'm still got guys I'm trying to reach out to. Please check your spam box, your junk box. There's somebody that I've emailed twice and trying to get them set up. But there's a lot of people who are jumping on that deal and have free TigerBait coming their way. So you jump on it as well. And Pride Roofing, if you're anywhere in South Louisiana and you have want to have an idea of what your roof is going to cost or what anything to do with your insurance adjuster, give Mike or Alex a call, 855-PRIDE-16, and they'll get you set up.
You're watching Baton Rouge TV, you see almost every commercial break, you see a roofing company that runs some spots. And look, there's a lot of good roofing companies, and we're making our way here in Baton Rouge, whether you're residents, whether you are a business, whether you want a metal roof. Look, folks, we have had a lot of people. You've had a lot of people. And first of all, the reason that they've got this name is because they do take great pride. I can't believe the number of people that and it's first, got to remind people, everything's in a cost competitive situation in this world. And you've had it happen, we've had it happen. Give them an opportunity. They're going to sharpen the pencil. But when we talk about taking pride, that means we get there early, we take care of the job, we clean it up. I even asked Mike and Alex, does it hurt you because we're getting dark at 5 o'clock? They get there an hour earlier. And so, trust me, 225-275-2041. Tammy will answer the phone. We're expanding in Baton Rouge. You've done fantastic with them. I've helped them a little bit, but...
And they're getting big in Lafayette, too.
Big in Lafayette. And once again, when Lake Charles got hit with those hurricanes, there they were taking care and helping people rebuild 18-wheelers full of shingles, full of tarps, full of plywood. I mean, and don't forget, Mike, tell them about they can actually go over there and see the facility in Albany, Louisiana.
That's it. Glenn Dufresne, any news on Kevin Falk? No, but I keep getting the impression and talking to some people that know the situation and those in the Lafayette area. I think Kevin might go back to his analyst position, but I don't, which gives him more time with family.
I think they want to keep him around, and,
Yeah.
And we're hoping that somebody texts me and asks me about Durante Jones. Still no definitive word on him. And look, this is what we were talking about earlier. Do you realize, and it gets us back into this discussion. Now, you and I disagree with this because when there wasn't but one signing period, I said for many years, wish they had an early signing period. I think it's a waste of money.
I always wanted an early signing period. Now I think it needs to go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And so you go back and forth. But this particular year, an early signing period was not advantageous for LSU. How can you ask somebody to uproot their life and their kids and their school and all that with the snap of a finger, and you've still got all that stuff going on? And in the Notre Dame case, they were possibly, I didn't ever think they were going to make the 4, but I'm saying this has been a tough situation. Oklahoma just hired a coach. We know USC is doing things. I mean, have you ever seen a year like Miami? How about Mario Cristobal? Your Cristobal finally landed on the South Beach.
Yeah,
He got 76 put on.
When I talk to Oregon Duck guys who run Oregon Duck sites up there, and the guy with the Oregonian, they just were like, he's not going back to Miami. The wife might not like it there, and she loves it here. She loves it here, doesn't like it there. Then you hear other people say, no, she hates it up there. She wants to go home. Good luck to him, because that school needs a lot of work.
But this is what it came down to. And, of course, Dan Radakovich, who was over at LSU for a little while. So,
yeah, and how does that work?
Well,
I mean, who got hired first? Did Dan Radakovich pick him?
Look, I don't know all the
Or maybe they know each other already. I bet they do.
No, they have familiarity. But what we're saying here is that it has been a crazy time, and I'm all in what you're saying. And then you kind of looked at me like I was crazy, or I could tell, when I said I think they'll get 14 or 15. Jordan Allen's going to be on that list next Wednesday. I feel confident in saying that. Maybe 12 or 13, whatever it is. And then if you get Quincy and a couple of more, you get the 15, and then it is going to be heavy transfer portal. And LSU fans got to be excited about that. We just talked about it. Stingley and Ricks, 2 greatest corners on paper in the last 5 years, and what did you get out of them? 1 year All-American from Stingley, nothing the last 2 years. Ricks, 1 year and a couple of games. My point is that he's going to bring in transfer guys that have played, physically fit, a little more older and mature. I think it's going to be fun to see.
And by the way, he's already let it be known that he is going to be taking a quarterback from the transfer portal.
We got to now.
And it's told maybe Gabriel from UCF is someone to watch out for. He's in the portal. Mm-hmm. And I was given another name. So let's see.
By the way, the other topic you and I had, and let's read some more, is should Garrett Nussmeier burn the red shirt? Let's give them a question out there, Mike. Pop in your answers. Would you, if you were Garrett Nussmeier's family member, his dad, his confidant, his brother, whatever, would you tell him to play that game and burn the red shirt, or do you think he should not play and get the red shirt? I'm going to say play the game and don't worry about the red shirt. Mike, I didn't do a lot of extensive research on this, but I think, did Jared Lee stay 5 years? I know Matt Flynn did, but you can count them on one hand the last time you can total up LSU quarterbacks that stayed 5 years.
Yep. Station 9 Incorporated, Super Chat. Thank you, Brian Kelly, 12 years, $150 million in LSU Tigers cash. I don't know what that means, but I like the blue font there. And thank you for the Super Chat. Kenny Haynes with a Super Chat. The official lawyer of TigerBait says, Buddy bought you a Super Chat to say I'm your fan.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Kenny.
Kenny, that is nice, but let me say this about Kenny.
You don't say I'm super, but he likes you to know.
Well, no, but whenever I have, seriously, this is true, and I never really said this before, but, you know, we get into all these legalities, and this is what's so great about Kenny on the site, because some people will talk nonsense, and Kenny will say, no, this is my job, this is my business, this is what really great is.
Kenny goes round and round anytime a new Will Wade story pops up and he's in trouble. He comes in and shoots it down. So,
but I mean, he helps the site because he differentiates from the BS.
So, but Kenny
reality.
still swears there's nothing that's going to happen to Will Wade. So.
Well, look, my point is that it's great to have those kind of people on the site, and we do appreciate
I hope he's right.
You guys, especially you, Kenny.
Bruce Steele, OC and DC predictions.
If I had my druthers, I would go get Mike Elko at Texas A&M. Now, Mike Elko was a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. And Jimbo threw that fishing line out there and reeled him in and took him from Brian Kelly at Notre Dame to Texas A&M. And, oh, by the way, I got people over there that follow Texas A&M, Mike, that say Elko is the real deal, and all the winning they're doing is because of Elko, not Jimbo. That being said, I'm going to let you pick the offensive coordinator, but I want Mike Elko.
I think maybe keep an eye on Todd Monken.
Todd Monken? Okay. Interesting. He's with Georgia right now, isn't he? Yeah. The problem you have with people that...
it's who you can get.
That's what I'm saying. And then you got people that are still in these Final Four at CFP.
Yeah, so we'll see. Or Cincy.
Yeah, Cincy. That guy's got a chance. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, listen. The bottom line is this. You know when those guys are going to be named?
I know one thing. Monken would be big.
You know when those guys are going to be named?
But any of them are going to run his offense. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say, nobody knows. But he's got a plan. I guarantee you he's got a plan.
Yep. And those guys, I'm telling you, I'm not – if I'm talking to them on the phone and I can hear they're lit up like a Christmas tree. Like just blown away, impressed by the in-school visit by Brian Kelly at these schools today. And then you got Frank Wilson at Lake Charles Prep visiting Citizen. We'll see what can happen there. I think that's a good touch there because Frank's obviously been in Lake Charles at McNeese. He knows those coaches at Lake Charles Prep. And so there.
All of them are good recruiters. And by the way, just a little tidbit in case you have been, traveling for Thanksgiving and you missed it, LSU men's and women's both had big wins last week. Both teams are in the top 25. If you've not seen Coach Kim Mulkey in year one, she is worth the price of a ticket. I said this today, and I firmly believe this, Mike. You are going to see the Pete Maravich Assembly Center this year sold out for a women's game and definitely sold out for more than one men's game. That's my prediction on hoops and attendance.
Both of them ranked on a Monday.
And you got to get back and give the fans some entertainment. These last 2 years in Tiger Stadium has been stressful and hell to swallow.
Whole lot of people debating in the chat about Nussmeier. Should he redshirt?
Okay.
Others saying no, it's a poo-poo bowl. He shouldn't.
Yeah, there's good points on each side.
I can go either way. I lean towards not burning a red shirt.
I look at it like this.
I don't like losing a year for a Texas Bowl.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Did his daddy call up Jake Peets and say, we want to play now?
Jake Peets is under a lot of fire.
No, listen up. Did he call up and say, screw the red shirt, we want to play? Didn't he do that? He did that earlier this year, remember? Yeah, but because that's why he played in the Arkansas game.
I hear differing stories. Was it him? Was it the mom?
Okay, well, anyway, the point is that at one point they said, we are not worried about the red shirt. And because of that fact, he got to play all but 2 series in the Arkansas game. Am I correct? Okay. And then Max, of course, nobody knew Max was not going to get back in the game. And unfortunately, Garrett, the gunslinger that he has, a lot of talent. They lose the game, but he showed promise. But now, so you go back to Max, and Max gets beat up. This is a perfect opportunity for Garrett Nussmeier to go into that locker room and say, guys, I'm not worried about losing a year. We're here. I'm going out there. We're going to lead each other to victory over Kansas State. And this is what he did in recruiting. Remember, he was a leader. Just like Walker Howard's been the leader of this class. Quarterbacks are leaders. People follow them. Garrett Nussmeier, play the game. You're going to win the locker room. And those 15 bowl practices are going to help you. Of course, he's going to practice anyway. But I'm just saying.
And Walker Howard, they want a red shirt.
Yeah, but who knows that that's possible now?
Yeah.
Because you don't have a quarterback depth you thought you were going to have.
I mean, he's still healing up a leg. He's got to get weight back on. He's one of those kids when he's not lifting weights. He loses weight. He's at that age.
But I'm talking about winning the locker room and your teammates. I just think you get more of a pop by playing than sitting out in red shirt and let LSU put a walk-on quarterback.
I don't know if those kids look at a guy like that if they make that decision that way anymore. I think the athlete today is just they don't judge like that.
Well, I know, but who stays 5 years?
Because they know what they would do.
Who stays with 5 years? Suppose the guy blows up and he leaves after his 4th year, then you could have played in that game.
Right, but if you burn the red shirt and you go somewhere, I mean, we're seeing quarterbacks now that have been at 3 different schools by the time their career's up with. It's good to have that extra year, and then what if he gets injured? And then, I mean, we I don't know.
Listen.
Is he necessarily an NFL guy?
But well, you can't play football worried about getting injured.
Yeah.
And everybody tells me that. You can't worry about getting injured. My opinion, win the locker room, quit worrying about the year. 5 years is a long time to stay anywhere. And go out there and lead LSU and show people that you are the leader going into spring football, Mike.
Yep. Al Basilla with a super chat. Thank you, Al, very much. One of my buddies from Crowley. Thank you very much. Got a lot of Crowley LSU fans out there.
Hey, by the way, we want to talk real quick, if we can, about Miss Tony tonight, Mike. And by the way, one other thing, folks, if we can keep it going in the chat, can we get a little over an hour?
Yeah, do me a favor, guys. We are real close to hitting 10,000 subscribers. There's so many of you that haven't actually subscribed to the channel. I can see in the analytics. Please hit the subscription button on YouTube. I think we're like 30 away, 30 subscribers away. I think that's the number. And we're in fact, let me look at the number right now.
Can you do me a favor, though? Can you give us an hour and 10 tonight?
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Tony.
Yeah, we're at 9,966. So we're 33 away from the magic number of 10,000. Y'all, please put us over the top tonight. Hit the subscription button on YouTube and click the notification bell. And if you're enjoying the show, please hit the thumbs up as well. So hit all 3. Very, very much appreciative. And very much appreciative of all of you spreading the word about TigerBait, sharing the show on your Facebook timeline and everywhere else. But you did bring up our good friend of the show. 1 second. Man, this thing messes me up every time.
Jake? He could be Jake from State Farm or Jake Peets. I don't know.
Yep. But
Assurance Financial.
Yep, I just got to get it pulled up here. I'm all discombobulated. And Miss Tony, of course, sponsors us each and every week. And so if you're thinking of buying a new home, refinancing your current mortgage, or you haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine, someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. In fact, Jane Dunn, who was earlier on the show, used her many times. Her knowledge and over 25 years experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. Tony offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer ready to buy a new home or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. And not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And please tell her that you heard about her from TigerBait.com, NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity 70876. And Miss Tony is absolutely the best there is in the mortgage game here in Baton Rouge. And she is also licensed to get you taken care of in Mississippi, Texas, and other states. So it don't matter if you're not in Baton Rouge, if you're in Lafayette or Monroe or Alexandria, she's going to find you the best deal. She's going to help you get all your paperwork together. She's going to help you get whatever you need through MyFICO or whatever it all is. She's absolutely the best. So give her a call and please tell you heard about her on TigerBait.
Tony has a lot in common with Brian Kelly. Attention to detail. She's got the numbers. She's confident but not cocky. And she just makes
Sweetheart.
it fun doing business with her.
Sweetheart, and anybody who's come in contact, I'm telling you, you'll use her over and over again.
Hey, listen, I don't
sweet as pop.
mind being wrong, but what's the consensus of the people whether Nussmeier should play or not?
Most people think you should burn it.
Burn it?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. By the way, Jay Johnson had his final press conference wrapping up fall baseball. If you were a baseball fan and you gave up your season tickets, I would say it'd be a good idea to re-up again. That's going to be fantastic. The old days when the box was like Ole Miss and Mississippi State, all these other schools that have been through the rafters, this is a crazy thing when you talk about it, Mike. Attendance has fallen down appreciable. Now, we don't get P&L numbers until a year or two after the fact, but this is important that Scott Woodward, from a bottom line standpoint, you got to get your season tickets back up in football. You're going to do much better in men's and women's basketball. We know that gymnastics is going to sell out some meets, but the box is going to be rocking again, and I know a lot of LSU fans out there love their LSU baseball. I would say, and I know you had Benny Latino on, and he is the expert on it, but I would say that if you're planning to go to Omaha this year, there might be a little coinciding with this LSU baseball team if they stay healthy and get the breaks.
Blaine Lord, good friend and longtime TigerBait subscribers in the chat, and I was thinking Blaine's son Cole, who we covered last year, preferred walk-on or at Texas, and with all this fiasco, I thought about him yesterday because he might have been called into duty. I mean, you would have liked to have had him right now, and I actually DM'd Cole last night and said, "Man, you could have been starting in the bowl game." And but he's liking it at Texas. But there's another Lord coming up. There's going to be another good quarterback too that we'll be covering in the coming years. Boone. So there you go. Let's see what else. Odom is DC. Todd Monken, boring. Bottom line is, whoever it is, they're going to run Brian Kelly's offense.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you want to know, Mike, but you remember all the DC stories we followed last year. Nielsen from the Saints was a done deal, and then they didn't do their due diligence and had some hiccups with the contract. Marcus Freeman, we remember him and his wife coming out the airport, and everybody. I remember like 4:30. He's coming. Of course, he came all right for a visit, and then the mama said, We going back up to where we like it, baby. And, of course, now that panned out to be a pretty damn good decision for him, seeing that he got the head gig at Notre Dame a year later. But it's very hard to follow these rumors, and I know you'll work it. But at this point, I'm just ready to be told the names and see what how they fit into the grand scheme of things. And it's going to be fun when you talk about new coaches and a new head coach and all these new players from the transfer portal, along with this excellent crop, whether it's 15 or whatever they get next Wednesday. You're going to basically have a pretty much a 60, 70% turnover on this football team.
It's poker, not pity pat. Says that Allen at Neville is the best running back in the state in 2022. He's darn good. Darn good. I know there's a lot of people that wish LSU would look at him. I think they have looked at him strong. I know there was a lot of people in the weeks leading up to Coach Kelly getting offered thought that it would be it would be the new coach would offer. I don't know.
That's the burner, right?
Yeah, and he's a good running back. There's some good ones in the state. I mean, Etchen, of course, Moss.
Went back and visited Citizen.
Yep. So we'll see.
Kudos to Jordan Allen.
Yeah.
Once again.
What does Logan Diggs do long term?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, and that's what I'm saying. You got guys like that potentially could come back.
Yeah, but I do think that because Notre Dame kept everything in house, and Marcus Freeman named head coach, that might make it less likely. But had they gone outside and hired someone brand new, then it might have been. I don't know.
Well, every kid's
does that offset Logan Diggs being from New Orleans and now Kelly's here?
Yeah, I was supposed to say every kid's an individual case.
Mo Funky Danu, Brian Kelly is giving a speech to the Louisiana High Schools Association on Friday the 10th. That is a good move. Good move. And then the recruits will be there for official visits on Saturday and Sunday.
Hey, you multitask and scroll and get some more, but I got to ask you, when you've talked to these parents and these players and they talk about being blown away, what is it? Is it his presence? Is it his delivery? Is it his vision? Or is it all of that combined, Mike, that people are liking what they hear?
Christian Hoot says he gets experience, talking about Nussmeier. By playing, he gets practice reps. He will never play a fifth year anyway.
That's what I agree. You and I are drinking the same water bottle tonight.
Here's another one right behind him saying red shirt. So there's a lot of differing opinions on that one. We'll get some Charlie Strong in here. Briles is the offensive coordinator. I'm seeing Elko, that's the guy who he lost, and that's why LSU fought for Freeman and lost last year. Well, look at that, Rich Rodriguez in here.
Right, Rich got a head job.
Yeah. Kenny Futch. Les Miles should have promoted Todd Monken to OC in 2007. A lot of people believe that Monken was the best coach on that 06 staff. Look at this, Bobby Petrino. Kendall Briles. Charlie Strong, D.C.
Bobby Petrino with a motorcycle sponsorship. Getting him.
You know what I thought about the other day? Because I had to go down Kenilworth Parkway. And so he hired Brian Kelly. It made me think of the old joke that was a running gag every time there was a coaching search. Ara Parsegian bought a house on Kenilworth Parkway.
Or Highland Road or whatever.
They didn't get Ara Parsegian, but they got some old timers will get that.
Yeah.
That
was many years ago, but you're right.
Was that during McClendon after he got fired?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get Ara Parsegian, but you got Brian Kelly. He has even more wins.
And listen, folks, everybody is going to have an opinion about Brian Kelly, and that's what makes this country beautiful. We all have different opinions. But there's not one person in this world, other maybe than God, that knows how this thing is going to turn out. And I think you look at the incredible apex and ecstasy that we all experienced on the night of January 13, 2020. And then you talk about you know what they say about seeing the same people on the way up as you do on the way down? Well, man, that thing went down quick. And so it's hard to split with people. It's hard to see your best friends have divorces. It's hard to see people pass. But it's life and how you deal with it. And I think that the LSU fan base wants to stay passionate, but you gotta trust, and let's give Woodward a little credit. We've all questioned him making big moves, but Kim Mulkey, Jay Johnson, and Brian Kelly, that's 3 pretty darn impressive hires, and I think because of that, LSU is going to be better down the road. Now, who's going to be the first to win a national championship, and how quickly is it going to be done, and all that? You got to take some patience.
Who's your money on?
I don't know. It's a hell of a question.
I'm going Mulkey.
But my point is
it Mulkey or Jay?
That's what I'm saying.
I might go Mulkey.
You gotta get luck to win a national. But my point is that LSU athletics is appreciably better in the future in the direction it's headed than it was a year ago, and you have to embrace that. That's all you can do.
Mike Watson, any list on what recruits are visiting this weekend? Should expect all the commitments, and if they're not there in their commitment, then that might tell you something. Of course, we know Jordan Allen from LCA, Quincy Wiggins. We'll see about Citizen, and we're going to see about anybody else. There might be 2 or 3 others.
Jacoby Matthews?
We're going to see. We're going to see how that plays out.
You know, A&M's had such an incredible year. At some point,
they play this weekend.
What's that?
They're playing for the state title.
They sure do. They do.
Yeah. So how do you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, when can you get them in?
Yeah.
Half a day on Sunday? I mean, what are you doing?
Sure. I mean, well, look,
that is going to be a game. Who you got? Ponchatoula or Zachary?
Man, Zachary's mighty good this year.
Man, that one, they're both good.
Yeah. And here's the crazy.
I might be leaning Ponchatoula.
Here's the crazy thing, though. In the old days, of course, I'm not trying to go back old days, but in the old days, you would get both the Zachary quarterback and Walker Howard. Okay? That doesn't happen anymore. And we started happening that we saw Peyton Manning, and they had a guy signed with Peyton Manning, and he didn't last long. I mean, when you have a megastar and a 5-star, it's hard to get a complimentary quarterback to follow. And so we're definitely going to be watching to see who he brings in from the transfer.
Yep. Let me scroll down, guys. Give me some patience. There's a lot of you in here tonight. Walt Longmire. Yeah, I've been getting hit with this a lot. LSU should pursue Aaron Brule, the linebacker transfer portal from Rummel, great player. They could absolutely use him. Absolutely. I remember when he was a recruit. I remember seeing him Rummel at Turlings. Of course, I saw Jamar Chase, and I saw him play. And, of course, Perry. And thought Brule with the time was a little undersized, a little bit of a hothead in that game. I thought he probably should have been ejected. Coaches need to get a hold of him. He was going crazy on the sideline in that game. But, no, he's had an amazing career. And, they wouldn't mind having him. So we'll see.
You know, the way I look at it, Mike, you got to get some offensive linemen in here. You got to get some corners and safeties. You got to get some linebackers. And, look, I mentioned this, and I sure hope that Cade York comes back. And I know they've already got a kicker lined up, but, man, it's going to be interesting if LSU loses a kicker to the NFL and he gives up his final year. But he made All-SEC second team. Of course, Ed Ingram made second team, and Damone Clark made first team, although a lot of Tiger fans were a little upset that he did not win the Butkus Award, which they gave it to Nakobe Dean, the Georgia linebacker, who's got a better reputation. Remember when Grant Delpit won the DB Award? He won it the year before. So sometimes these things are won on reputation. But hell of a year for Damone Clark, and I'm expecting him to finish his career on the night of January 4th with about 15 tackles.
Who do we play at quarterback if Nuss doesn't want to burn his red shirt? Can you give us a scoop on him? It's the walk-on. What's his name?
There's Matthew O'Dowd.
There you go.
There's Tavion Falk. And there's also possibility.
Your memory amazes me.
John Kirkland, who could play some Wildcat and did play quarterback in high school. So lo and behold, I'll never forget when O'Dowd was coming over here and Falk were coming over here, and let's be honest, they were camp arms, okay? But bottom line is, I'm hoping Nuss walks in there and, of course, talks to his dad and said, Dad, you know what? We've gone flip-flop. I wanted to give up the red shirt, and so I played against Arkansas and got a chance to win the game. And now that they gave him that opportunity, I think he should come around to the fact that, man, I got a chance to win that locker room, beat a guy with 15 practices, beat a guy in the game, win the bowl game, and then be the starter going into spring ball, knowing that Walker Howard is going to be great competition, but also knowing that he's got more experience and he's the leader in the clubhouse going into next year.
So now that we know Brad Davis has got a job on the staff and he's being retained, how neat is it that not only does he get to be the interim coach, but he still has a job here? He then gets folded into Kelly's staff. I mean, what an opportunity that is for him. I just think it's now the storyline's really neat.
And I think it's well-deserved.
Yeah.
I have not personally met Brad because, I'm always on the air on these press conferences when you guys are having them. But I was very, very impressed. Just his mannerisms and the way he handled himself. And look.
Anybody who's a walk-on and works their way into a scholarship and goes the route that he did,
And if you're on Sam Pittman's staff as an offensive line coach, you're pretty good. And let's give him some credit. Now, look, I beat up the old linemen all year long because most of them were fat and out of shape. And they gave up a lot of punishment to Max.
And what does that tell you that that the word's out that he's been retained? What is the likelihood that an offensive line coach his name gets released if Brian Kelly doesn't right now know who his offensive coordinator is going to be?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because as offensive coordinator, they've had the discussion. They've had to have.
Sure, absolutely.
And the guy might already know Brad Davis, or he might say, you know what? I'm not sure about my offensive line guy. I don't think I can get him. And then it saves LSU a lot of money. That's one nice thing. But it might be where I trust your judgment. Let's go with him.
Yeah. Look, if you're an offensive...
But I think he knows who his offensive coordinator is, and that's why he's able to make that hire and announce it right now.
But he was a star with Sam Pittman, and you get an offensive line coach from Sam Pittman, then you got somebody that really has potential. And let's be honest, the offensive line got appreciably better once they realized what Coach Davis wanted. How many people said it? Ed Ingram said it week after week. Took us a while to get acclimated to what he expected.
Well, you saw it at Arkansas. I mean,
saw it for Florida more than anybody.
But I'm talking about. But we saw what Arkansas was doing with Pittman when he was there.
Yeah, right.
And then of course they're both. Pittman's an offensive lineman. He's a line coach.
Yeah.
But, all right. Let me scroll down, guys. We got a lot more comments in here. Yeah, he did. Rex Marino. Brad Davis did well with third and fourth string players.
Look, I am never one to talk about people's bodies, but what's the probability that the O-line and D-line look appreciably different in 2022, Mike? That's a slam dunk. No disrespect to anybody, because the guys are the ones that have to put the fork down, okay? But I think what you're going to see, and look, it's going to take a couple years. Let's not overreact here. It's going to take a couple years to get those big Midwestern beef eaters like Notre Dame has. They got gargantuan big tight ends and big O-linemen, and it might take him a couple years. But the days of LSU being soft and fat at the line of scrimmage are going to be over. And I'm hoping they can do it in year one. But it might take a year and a half.
That's what I want to see.
That's exciting, man.
Does Brian Kelly alone make it so the June Brian Kelly football camp has names from areas of the country that we've never seen in an offensive line camp?
Going to be interesting.
Is there any Midwest kids there? We already saw last summer that there was kids from Missouri, a couple of them, but and that was because of Coach Davis.
Yeah.
LSU doesn't recruit linemen.
Right.
He had those on the board from Arkansas.
Exactly. He's got a full year. Brad
And
Davis
those
has
are
a full year, too.
And those are class of 23 guys. So he can, now that he's being retained, he's still got those guys on the board. So, guys, thank you all for subscribing to us on YouTube. And also we want to have you as a premium subscriber on TigerBait.com. So go check us out. Go to the site. I always tell everybody, if subscribe, choose the annual package. All the news has been breaking. Subscribers have been getting text alerts to their cell phone as soon as it's happening. If they're in a meeting, they can just glance at their phone and know that something's happening. I've sent out several newsletters in the past few days. We got a ton of recruiting. We still got a slew of coaches hires coming your way. So it is going to be a busy December on TigerBait.com. And if you're an LSU fan, I think you'll really enjoy a premium subscription to TigerBait. But do choose you can do the monthly if you want, but save money and go with the annual package because you basically get 3 months free when you do that. It's less expensive. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. I'm going to be on our message boards day and night. I actually left the house for the first time today, the office. And as soon as I went out, all hell broke loose as soon as I did.
Yeah.
I'm going to be batting down the hatches, and I'm not going anywhere. So we're going to be covering all the official visits this weekend and a lot more. And Preston's going to be giving me a hand, Brian Lazar. And thanks to Buddy for coming in each week and doing the show with us. So like, share, please come back to TigerBait, and we'll be back here next week. And if there's any breaking news, I might do a special show depending on what happens Sunday. I might pop in and maybe do a short show on recruiting Sunday night, so be on the lookout for that. That's why you click the notification bell. When we go live, you'll get an immediate notification. So, all right, guys, good night. Thank y'all.